Yo, this is a check-in coming after the workout, but forgot to film an intro, but so I already know what's gonna happen. But yeah, I kind of ran into where do I start? I ran into an issue. This all involves the diet and food choice. Everything was working great. I was recomping, I was losing fat, keeping on my strength. Everything was going great. And at the time that I made that change, I was like 225. And eventually, you know, what ended up happening over these last like couple months or however long it's been, like my metabolism caught up, and the food that I would, you know, I'm up until like 2 days ago, I was still eating as if I was 225 pounds. So like I'm eating an extra 500 calories, but my body knows that it doesn't need it, and it can't, it wasn't processing, like it wasn't processing at all. So it wasn't processing at all, and I had to like kind of reassess, and it was like, you know, kind of take a look at what I was eating, and it's like, yeah, I'm eating nothing but like, you know, dry lean chicken, really heavy starchy fiber rich potatoes, tons of fruit that ferments, and just like high volume, high fiber, like intake foods. And like no wonder now that I'm 206, you know, my body was like, hey man, we're tapped out. This is a lot of work we're having to do to digest all this food. Not necessarily that it's the food calories, it's more just the type of food. It's real, that type of food that I started with was perfect because I was transitioning from eating fast food every day, you know, and stuff like that. I was transitioning from that, so I had the fear of like going hungry. So at the time it was important for me to have foods that I knew were gonna satiate and keep me full and blah blah blah. But you know, things change and my metabolism changed. Basically what was happening is I was getting, like, when I say bloated, I mean like my insides were like hurting. And then what ends up happening for me is like the bloating starts, and then it causes a pattern of like inflammation. And as a truck driver, like having anything inflamed in my like guts, like anything in there, it puts pressure on my back. And so as a truck driver, that's like the worst thing I could ever have happen, because I'm, you know, sitting all day at work, bouncing on my tailbone basically. So it's like if there's inflammation and pain already, like I was starting to be really fucking miserable, you know, like, and I couldn't understand why. And then I also couldn't understand why recently I wasn't able to finish all my food, you know, and it was causing me a lot of stress. I was like, fuck man, I have all this food to eat, you know. My mindset was kind of, I had a different understanding of it, because I was like, oh, I have to eat this food, you know, it's part of the plan. And anyways, come to find out that it was just too high of a volume of too high of fiber foods. So it's like, you know, shit that fills you up, and it's really takes a lot to digest, which is good for if you're worried about being hungry at some point, like, but maintaining for me now at 206 and my body being regulated and everything working properly, like I need access to quick carbs now, not slow digesting carbs. So anyways, that's what's been going on. a little lower energy because I'm still recovering. I wasn't eating enough food, because like I said, I was just in pain, and it was like I would eat and I would be nauseous, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? So I'm adjusting to that. So this session was a little less, it was a lot less energy. I still tried to give it my all and all that, and I gave what I could. And that's it. You know, I'm happy I was consistent and showed up and stuff like that, and gave it what I could. But it wasn't impressive. It definitely wasn't PRs, but that's not going to happen every day. You know, I have to play the long game. I have to think ahead. I have to play smart sometimes. As much as I would like to just fucking break PRs all day, every day, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks, and midnight stacks, we can't be doing that. But anyways, we cut to some deadlifts, try to get a different angle, and I'll check back in with you after.
Okay. Jesus.
All right, this is after, I guess. So again, a little lower energy on that. Not as high volume, not as, it's it is what it is. I'm recovering. I don't have much energy. That is being corrected right now. I need about a week or so, roughly, to get the, bloating and everything to kind of get out of my system and get, move on. So that's the plan. It's already in motion. Everything's already planned out, things like that. So, very fortunate, it's cool to run into, that's what life's about. It's the journey, right? It's like I run into, on paper, everything was gonna go fine, and then like stuff like this happens where it's like, oh fuck, like I need to adjust, I need to whatever. And like traditionally I've never been very good at that, like rolling and adjusting with life as it happens. There's a big part of me that just like would freak out, and it still happens sometimes. It's like, I can't process this right now, I can't adjust to it. And nowadays I'm getting a lot better at that. So I think it's noteworthy. I think it's important. I think it's important to talk about that stuff and share it, and that's just my opinion. Call it what you will, but let's see. My back's still a little sore. I know I just did deadlifts or whatever, but it's a different kind of sore. It's not the muscles. It's like my actual, back kind of being like pushed out, like an inflammation thing. So, yeah, we'll see how tomorrow goes. I'm gonna try to get, a good amount of sleep tonight to try to, let my body recover and kind of deal with some of this fucking food that's just sitting in my stomach, or intestines and stuff. So that's the situation. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you tomorrow.